Hey, what's going on, guys? It is TemperAlliance, and I want to talk about Forza Horizon 2 presents Fast and Furious. And I wanted to make a walkthrough out of it, but unfortunately, there was copyrighted music being played, and I went into the settings to try and turn it off, but the game wouldn't let me turn it off. Like, the lowest volume that I could bring it down to was 1, and then when you press OK and get out of the settings, the music was still there, but you can barely hear it, and I thought it was okay. But then when I went into the cutscenes, the music, you could hear it like loud and clear. And when you turn off the radio, and then when you went into like another cutscene, like the radio just comes on again, and the music starts being played. And I just knew that if I tried to upload the walkthrough, like YouTube will just mute the audio. And so pretty much when you guys watch the walkthrough, and at every single part where there's a cutscene, you're just going to be in silence, and that's not going to be like that's not going to be entertaining. So instead of doing a walkthrough, I just decided to do the campaign by myself, and just turned the walkthrough into a video. And I'll just talk about what I thought about this game. So I really enjoyed Fast and Furious, the game, and I really enjoyed their movies. And I went to see Fast and Furious 7 in the cinemas like a good few weeks ago, and I just thought the movie was absolutely brilliant. It was such a brilliant movie, and I thought the ending of the movie was so amazing. Like, it was such a beautiful moment for pretty much all of us who actually watched the movie, because it was just like a very heart-feeling moment for all the fans who because of Paul Walker's passing. And I just thought that they couldn't have made the ending any more better than they did. It was such a beautiful ending, and it was such a memorable moment, to give all the fans just to think about Paul Walker. And before I continue about talking about the game, I just want to say R.I.P. to Paul Walker. He was born in 1973 to 2013, and he was such a good guy to watch on the films. He was one of my favorite characters in the Fast and Furious franchise. I just loved when he was like an undercover cop, and try and do all the races and all that part. Because he was one of my favorite characters on the movie, and I just know that when they're continuing on it, because there's going to be like a Fast and Furious 8 in like 2017, and I just knew, like, with the moment I watched it, it's not going to be the same without him, because he was pretty much one of the main characters in the film, and he was one of my favorite characters, and he was such a good actor, and he was such a great person to watch. And he is going to be missed by all the fans, and my heart just goes out to his friends and family, because I just knew that they're just like still going through this tough time. Like, living life without him it must be honestly tough for them. And when I went to see the movie, and after watching the movie and going home, and I went online, and there was a website that I clicked on. I can't remember it. Like, when I went on the internet, it was just there, so I decided to click on it, and it said that over 1 million people who went to watch the movie choked up at the end of the movie, and they nearly cried, which was completely understandable, because it was such a hard-feeling moment, and it just makes you want to cry, to be completely honest, because it was such a beautiful ending. And the song "See You Again" is such a great song for a tribute to Paul Walker. So I just want to say R.I.P. to Paul Walker. He will definitely be missed by many. And I also want to say an R.I.P. to Roger Rodas, because when I go online, I don't really hear anything about Roger Rodas. And in case you guys don't know, he was a professional driver, and he was the person that drove the car at the time of the accidents, because Paul Walker and Roger Rodas was in the same car. Roger Rodas was driving a red Porsche, and they were driving down the road, and unfortunately Roger Rodas lost control of the vehicle, and they crashed into a tree, and the car just burst into flames, and they just died at the scene, which was a very tough time. So I just want to say an R.I.P. to Roger Rodas. He was born in 1975 and died in 2013, the same time as Paul Walker, obviously. And I just want to just say an R.I.P. to him, and my heart goes out to his friends and family as well, because they have to go through a very tough time, living life without him, because it must be honestly very, very tough. And he was a professional driver, and he just lost control of the vehicle, which was a very sad moment. And I just still can't believe it. You know, like, the more I think of it, the more I just refuse to believe it, because it just doesn't seem real to me. And I just want to talk about it because you know, it just, like, this terrible thing happened to two great people, and it's honestly terrible. It's just a terrible thing, and it happened like 2 years ago. And like, until this day, I still refuse to believe it. You know, I went online, I looked at their pictures, and it just seems to me that they're still here, even though in like reality they're not. It just doesn't seem real, and it's just very sad, you know, knowing that they're no longer with us. So it's honestly sad. But anyway, let's talk about the game. So Forza Horizon 2 Presents Fast and Furious was a very good game, but the most disappointing thing about the game was how long it was. It was honestly very short. Like, you can honestly complete this game maximum 3 hours. Excuse me. And there was some side missions to do as well, but they were very small as well. Like, you can get them done in like 20 minutes. And what you do in the game is pretty much you pretty much race, and you just get all the cars that was in Fast and Furious 7 and bring them to a plane, and the plane brings them to Miami, because you're still on the same map as you would play on if you played Forza Horizon 2, the actual game. But the disappointing thing about that as well, the most second disappointing thing, is that you can't explore the map. You know, you're restricted in one area. Like, you're only in France, and you can't go very far. So you're actually restricted in one area, and you do all the races, gather all the cars. Like, the maximum cars you can get is 10, and you just gather all the cars and you bring it to a plane, and the plane just brings it to Miami, and the campaign is done. And for the side missions, you get put into a car that you get, and it'll just ask you to do a challenge. Like, say for example, get from here to here in this amount of time, get this score in this amount of time, and you know, it's just pretty much stuff like that. And like, break down all the billboards in like this amount of time, or get this many billboards in this amount of time, you know, stuff like that. And they're very short and simple, and the campaign was honestly very short as well. But you know, don't get me wrong, it was still an enjoyable game to play. You know, if you love the Fast and Furious movies, you will definitely love this game, because this game was actually quite good. Even though it was short, but it was still an enjoyable game to play. And it's actually been a very long time since I last played a Fast and Furious game. The last Fast and Furious game I played was back on the PlayStation 2, and it was released a short time, or was it before? I can't really remember, but it was released roughly around Tokyo Drift, because the game was based on the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. So it was a very long time ago, and that game was enjoyable too. But I think you can like buy your own cars, but the title was Fast and Furious. I can't really remember 100%, but I do remember playing it, and it was such a good game on the PlayStation 2. And you know, like it was such a long time since I last played a Fast and Furious game. So I was really happy to see that Forza, the makers of Forza, just brought out this game, because I knew that I would enjoy it, which I did. I honestly thought it was a very good game. And also, Ludacris was the commentator on the game, so pretty much in every cutscene, Ludacris will be talking to you, and he'll be saying that, oh well, I hacked the GPS and you have to get from here, I got a new race for you, you have to get this car. You know, he'll be the one that'll be talking to you. It's no one else, it'll just be him. And I honestly thought the game was very enjoyable. But just note to self though, if you ever play the game, just upgrade the difficulty, because I honestly thought that the game was very easy to complete. And you know, looking back on it, I probably should have increased the difficulty, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter, because I still enjoyed the game, and it was such an enjoyable game to play. And maybe in the future they will release another one, or maybe their own game. And if they ever did, I will definitely play it, because I honestly love Fast and Furious movies and the game as well. And this was like the second game I have played. So Yeah, so that is pretty much everything. Oh, and also, actually, before I mention or before I end the video, before April 12th, the game was free, which made sense because you're very limited on what you can do. But then after April 12th, they will start charging. So obviously, a month later, when you see this video, you'll have to pay for it. So if you guys didn't already pay for it or already got it for free when you had time, I think you have to pay €10 to get it now, which is still isn't bad, because the campaign is very short, in like 3 hours. It depends how long you actually look at it, but yeah, so that is still a very good price to pay if you guys don't have it and is still interested in getting it, because it honestly was an enjoyable game to play. So yeah, so that is pretty much everything that I want to say about this game, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. So if you did, give this video a like, it always helps me out a lot. And also leave your comments down below. Did you play this game? Did you enjoy it? Did you want to watch Fast and Furious 7? You know, were you one of those choked up people when you saw the end of it? You know, let me know down in the comment section below. And also, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. You'll see more videos like this. And that is pretty much it for me. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.